So friends, just as Donald Trump has one trial date set down in Florida, things start to really heat up for him in Georgia. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, two big stories just broke, both, coincidentally, involving prosecutions of Donald Trump, one down in Florida and one in Georgia. So let's do a quick update on the Trump trials. So friends, let's start down in Georgia, because this story is kind of a big deal. It involves one of the most powerful law enforcement tools prosecutors have, RICO. Let's have a look at the new reporting. This from Hugo Lowell of The Guardian. Headline: Fulton County prosecutors prepare racketeering charges in Trump inquiry. And that article begins, the Fulton County District Attorney investigating Donald Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election results in the state of Georgia has developed evidence to charge a sprawling racketeering indictment next month, according to two people briefed on the matter. The racketeering statute in Georgia requires prosecutors to show the existence of an enterprise and a pattern of racketeering activity that is predicated on at least two qualifying crimes, or what we call RAC acts. In the Trump investigation, the Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis has evidence to pursue a racketeering indictment predicated on statutes related to influencing witnesses and computer trespass, the people said. Willis had previously said she was weighing racketeering charges in her criminal investigation, but the new details about the direction and scope of the case come as prosecutors are expected to seek indictments starting in the first 2 weeks of August. You know, friends, a lot of people in Trump's orbit, in Trump world, are going to get caught up in this RICO dragnet. The article mentions, for example, nefarious Trump lawyer Sidney Powell. And let's not forget lawyers like Rudy Giuliani and Jenna Ellis. Rudy, in fact, was told he was a target of DA Willis's criminal investigation down in Georgia. So people like Powell and Giuliani and Ellis might very well find themselves on the wrong side of the V, state of Georgia versus Rudy Giuliani, for example. And friends, let's never forget Lindsey Graham. You know, there was reporting back in 2020 that then Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger received some calls from Lindsey Graham. And Raffensperger said he interpreted what Lindsey Graham was asking him to do as urging me to toss out lawfully cast ballots. You know, when that story broke at the time, I think I said something like, old Lindsey went down to Georgia. He was looking for some votes to steal. He was in a bind because Trump was way behind and he was willing to make a deal. Okay, I'm no Charlie Daniels, but you get the picture. Will Lindsey also get caught up in this RICO dragnet? Will he find himself on the wrong side of the V? We'll know soon enough. Okay, friends, let's turn our attention to Florida, where Trump-appointed Judge Aileen Cannon just set a trial date. Now, recall Special Counsel Jack Smith and his prosecutors consistently asked Judge Cannon to set the trial for December 2023, this coming December, because they wanted it resolved well in advance of the presidential election cycle. And Donald Trump and his lawyers wanted no trial date to be set. But they said, if you have to set a trial date, Judge, please put it well after the November 2024 presidential election. Well, here is what Judge Cannon did. This from NBC News. Headline, Federal Judge Sets May 2024 as the start of Trump's classified documents trial. That's a misnomer. It should be his documents obstruction of justice espionage trial. The article begins, the federal judge overseeing the classified documents case against former President Donald Trump has decided the criminal trial will begin May 20th, 2024 in Fort Pierce, Florida. Judge Aileen Cannon announced the timing of the trial in a document filed in federal court Friday. Quote, the court rejects defendant's request to withhold setting a schedule now, Cannon wrote in her motion. She said the court does not see sufficient basis on this record to postpone entry of a scheduling order, in other words, setting a trial date. The judge continued, nevertheless, the government's proposed schedule is atypically accelerated and inconsistent with ensuring a fair trial. While the government has taken steps to organize and filter the extensive discovery, no one disagrees that defendants need adequate time to review and evaluate it on their own accord, Cannon wrote. The timing of the trial is a few months after the period Special Counsel Jack Smith had requested, but is a blow to the former president who wanted to delay the court proceedings until after the presidential election. So Judge Cannon sort of split the baby and set the trial for May 2024. What are the main takeaways? Well, the good news is, if that trial date holds, put a pin in that, then Trump's case will be resolved months in advance of the 2024 presidential election. And that's a good thing. Why? Well, because if Donald Trump is the Republican nominee for president, once the trial has ended, once the trial has concluded, people will know whether they're casting their votes for a convicted felon, who might very well be imprisoned by then, or a fully exonerated defendant who went to trial and was acquitted on all counts because he did nothing wrong. So I think it's a good thing that this trial will be resolved months in advance of the November 2024 presidential election. I think the voters should have a right to know whether they're voting for a convicted felon or an innocent man. Okay, let's go back to the question, will the trial date hold? Here's my take based on 30 years as a prosecutor. You know, at one point, friends, I tried to go back and count up how many judges I had appeared before in my 30 years, and it was well over 100. Now that's military judges and civilian judges, that's trial court judges and appellate court judges, that's federal judges and local judges, a lot of judges. And here is what I have come to know. Once a judge sets a firm trial date, particularly when they set it almost a year out, right? This trial date now set for May 20th, 2024 is what? A full 10 months away? Once a judge sets a firm trial date and sets a schedule in the run-up to the trial date, when motions have to be filed, when reply motions have to be filed, when oral arguments will occur on those motions, etc., most judges, particularly most federal judges, try very hard to stick to that trial date. They know that one party or the other, sometimes both, will try to push the trial date, try to find reasons to ask the judge to vacate the trial date and push it further down the road. We need a continuance, Judge. We need more time. Most federal judges will have none of it. They set a schedule and a trial date for a reason, and they want it to stick. Now, they don't always stick. Trials often get continued. They get pushed down the road. But in my experience, judges who sit fairly, impartially, and independently, and who are honest brokers of the law, tend to want their trial date to stick, especially when they set it so far out in the future. Raises the question, doesn't it? Is Judge Aileen Cannon a Trump-appointed judge who has already been found to have abused her discretion? The 11th Circuit Court of Appeals said she abused her discretion and ruled in Trump's favor in a way that was unlawful. And she was not only appointed by Donald Trump, she was confirmed to the federal bench after Donald Trump lost the 2020 presidential election. Is Judge Cannon the kind of judge who can and will sit fairly, impartially, and independently? Is Judge Cannon an honest broker of the law? Will Judge Cannon make sure the trial goes in May of 2024? She certainly should, because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.